Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. You're attending the Pennington County Planning Commission meeting of December 11th, 2023. Recommendations of the Planning Commission on certain items from this agenda will be considered by the Board of Commissioners at their regular meeting on December 19th, 2023 at 10:30 a.m. And I try to tell everyone that 10:30 a.m. is the starting of the planning and zoning items. The Planning Commission utilizes speaker request forms, which are available in the commission chambers right in the back in those two little areas. Roll call. And Jim has notified the office. Jim's absent today, Jim Coleman. Has everyone had a chance to review the minutes from the November 27, 2023 meeting of the Planning Commission in their agenda packet? If so, the chair would address a motion to approve them.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and second to approve the November 27, 2023 minutes of the Pennington County Planning Commission. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Chair would address the same motion on approval of the agenda if the commission members have had a chance to review the agenda in their packet.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded to approve the agenda of the Pennington County Planning Commission for December 11, 2023. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. On to the consent agenda. Good morning, Brittany.
Good morning, Commissioners. Brittany Molitor, Planning Director. The following items have been placed on the consent agenda for action to be taken on all items in accordance with staff's recommendation by a single vote. Any item may be removed from the consent agenda by any planning commissioner, staff member, or audience member for separate consideration. The findings of this planning commission on certain items from this agenda are recommendations to the Pennington County Board of Commissioners, who will make the final decision. Item number 3 is conditional use permit review CUR 20-31 for Cindy Wasson to review a single-wide mobile home to be used as a single-family residence in an agriculture district. And staff recommends to end conditional use permit review CUR 20-31 with the applicant's concurrence. Item number 4 is conditional use permit review CUR 22-20 for Sean and Kelly Dahl to review a recreational vehicle to be lived in on the subject property less than 180 days in a calendar year in an agriculture district. And staff recommends approval of conditional use permit review CUR 22-20 with conditions. Item number 5 is conditional use permit review CUR 22-29 for Angelia and Ross Dale to review an accessory structure, a garage as a primary structure in a rural residential district. And staff recommends approval of conditional use permit review CUR 22-29 with conditions. Item number 6 is conditional use permit review CUR 22-45 for Lynn Hansen to review an efficiency dwelling in an agriculture district. And staff recommends approval of conditional use permit review CUR 22-45 with conditions. Item number 7 is plan unit development review PUR 0509 for Richard Sturkle to review an existing plan unit development. And staff recommends approval of plan unit development review PUR 0509 with conditions. Item number 8 is major plan unit development overlay amendment review PU 1909 for Donna Hartshorn to review an existing plan unit development overlay to allow for seasonal commercial recreation and amusement structures to include racetracks, miniature golf, paintball, arcade games, and to allow 5 lighted on-premise signs to be located within 1,500 feet of a residential district or dwelling unit. And staff recommends to continue major plan unit development overlay amendment review PUR 1909 to the January 22nd, 2024 Planning Commission meeting in order for the applicant to work with the City of Rapid City to obtain approved operating permits for the existing on-site wastewater treatment systems. Item number 9 is major plan unit development amendment review PUR 22-02 for Aaron Olson to review an existing plan unit development to allow 20 full-service RV sites, 5 cabins, and a caretaker's manager's residence. And staff recommends approval of major plan unit development amendment review PUR 22-02 with conditions. And finally, item 10 is minor plan unit development amendment review, PU 22-14, for Byron and Christian Mobley, to review the existing planning and development to remove a condition of approval of the plan unit development in order to vacate a portion of the access and utility easement. And staff recommends approval of minor plan unit development amendment review, PUR 22-14 with conditions.
Thank you, Brittany. Staff desire to have any item pulled?
No, not at this time.
Any of the commissioners would like an item pulled this morning? Anyone from the audience that would desire to have those items 3 through 10, any item pulled for discussion? Chair to address a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So move. Second.
Moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda, items 3 through 10. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. On to item number 11. Good morning.
Good morning. Megan Talmadge, planner. Agenda item 11 is minor plat MPL 23-25, and it is to subdivide and create lots 1 and 2 of Van Ness subdivision. The applicants are Richard and Christine Van Ness, and their surveyors All Aspects. The total size of the current property is 20 acres. Lot 1 will be 15.01 acres, and Lot 2 will be 5 acres. Their current zoning is agriculture and ranchette district, and their access is off of 385. There's no floodplain on the property. The 5 acres that will be Lot 2 was rezoned from agricultural district to ranchette district on October 10th, or approved on October 10th by the Board of Commissioners with the Planning Commission's concurrence. There was previously a conditional use permit for a seasonal cabin, but that has ended as the use has ceased. The staff has provided minor changes to the surveyor for the plat before the Mylar is filed with the Register of Deeds, and staff has found no significant issues with this request and recommends approval.
Thank you, Megan. Questions for Megan? I've just got one. If you look on the drawing from All Aspects, it's the access. What is it? See, now, I'm used to seeing L2, L1 as lots. It's like it's going to supply a whole bunch of lots.
Those are survey points, I believe.
Okay,
Yep.
all right. That's why I figured I must not be reading it right when I saw all those numbers on there. Thank you. Any other questions for Megan? Any questions for the applicant? If the is the applicant here?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Any questions for the applicant from the commission? Anyone else in the audience would like to speak on item number 11? Chair to address a motion.
Move to approve minor plat MPL 23-25.
Second.
Moved and seconded to approve MPL 23-25. And it's with 4 conditions. Discussion from the audience, from the commission. Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. On to item number 12.
Morning, Commissioners. Jason Thennison, Assistant Planning Director. Agenda item number 12 is conditional use permit 23-37 to allow an accessory dwelling unit on the subject property. Applicants are Kevin and Renee Eggebraden. Location of the property is 3351 Moon Meadows Drive. It is 2.1 acres, currently zoned suburban residential district. Access is off Moon Meadows Drive, and there is no special flood hazard area on the property. Staff does look at the 7 criteria listed in section 510 when they're considering conditional use permits. They're on the screen. Staff also looks at section 324 specifically for accessory dwelling units. They're also on the screen. Some property history on The subject property is that there is a single-family residence with a detached garage with a studio, an on-site wastewater treatment system within the city's 1 mile. There was a violation on the property for a short-term rental that was resolved shortly after it was opened. Applicants also received a variance to allow a detached bed and breakfast structure in the front yard, which was approved by the Board of Commissioners in June of 2022. Request was sent out for interdepartmental review. There were no objections or concerns received. If you look on the screen again, you can see the accessory dwelling unit proposed in the detached garage is here. The single-family residence is here. Staff did verify the finished space of the proposed ADU is 648 square feet per Department of Equalization. Staff also verified owner-occupied status with the Treasurer's Office. With that, staff recommends approval of conditional use permit 23-37 with conditions.
Thank you, Jason. Questions for Jason?
I have one. Jason, the attached bed and breakfast, where in the world is that?
It's detached, so it's in this structure. Here, back to the map again, it's in this garage,
It's in the garage also?
in a detached garage. Yep, it's right here, it's above it. So you can
But
see.
isn't that where the vacation home rental, I mean, is that where they're trying to modify everything? The ADU?
Yep, so they got the set, or the front yard variance to allow a bed and breakfast in the front yard, and through some complications, they decided they don't want to do the bed and breakfast anymore.
Oh.
So they want to convert this to a accessory dwelling unit.
The bed and breakfast is out.
Right.
Okay. And then the garage, the nice-looking garage, this thing is going to be remodeled inside to become the, whatever they want to do with it.
So they already got a building permit to finish it as a studio. I
Okay.
believe the previous owners did finish it and create bedrooms in it, so this is gonna bring them into compliance.
No, that's all I got, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Any other questions for Jason? I just want to clarify, in other words, if we approve this, then the bed and breakfast goes away?
This will approve the use of an accessory dwelling unit on the property. They never had a conditional use permit for a bed and breakfast. They just got the variance to allow the structure in the front
Oh,
yard.
all right.
Right.
In other words, I got too far down the chain here.
A little bit.
Thank you. Any other questions for Jason? Questions for the applicant from the commission? Is the applicant here?
Yep.
Okay. Questions for the applicant from the commission?
I just want to make sure that the applicant's aware that this cannot be used as a short-term rental per the conditions.
Yep. I discussed that with the applicant.
Okay.
I believe it is a condition of approval as well.
Mr. Chair, I'll move to approve CU 23-37 with per staff's recommendations.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and second to approve per staff's recommendations, CU 23-37 with 14 conditions. Discussion from the audience, from the commission. Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. On to item number 13.
Good morning, Kelsey Roush, Pennington County Planning Department. Conditional use permit CU 23-37 is to allow a vacation home rental on the property. The applicant and owner is Peaceful Valley Hideaway LLC. The local contact is J&J Hospitality. The agent, Connor Donahoe. The location is 12987 Bocas Gym Road. This property is 3 acres. Staff recommends to approve with, I believe, 19 conditions. The criteria reviewed, there's 7 criteria. They're listed on the screen. Vacation home rental should not be detrimental to any of the surrounding properties. It does have all necessary utilities in place. The interdepartmental review did come up with one issue. The highway department noted the original approach that was approved by the highway department, they did not build the driveway in that specific location. So they do need to update and get a new approach permit with the highway department for the existing driveway. That is one of the conditions that I noted. Staff did find that the address is posted where the driveway meets Bogus Gym, but it is not posted on the residence that I can see on the pictures. So that will be another condition. They need to put the numbers on the house itself. Right now, the property is being utilized as a long-term rental, and the lease is up April 30th, 2024. I am requesting, if this does get approved, to review it again in March, just to check in and make sure we're still on track to use it as a vacation home rental. And the agent is here, if you have questions for him.
Questions for Kelsey? Mike, you had,
Well, my first concern was, what were we doing so far out on this thing? But listening to what you're saying is what one thing is ending, another one starting. I guess that's what it is, a big building.
I do believe they are planning on using the month of May to kind of clean up and switch over, and they probably won't start renting until June, so the plan is review in March. Then once the rental is done, April 30th, review at the first meeting in May, which is May 11th, I believe, or 13th, and then they can't, the plan is to not let them start renting until at least May 15th. So that gives me time to do a site visit, get interior pictures, make sure they have all their stuff ready for the VHR itself.
And the basement is going to be used in the...
Yes, they will have to use the entire house as one rental. They cannot rent them separately. That's the only way that we would allow them to keep the basement have a separate kitchen still.
thank you, Michael. Thank you, Kelsey. One more, just for the record, so that, you know, did all the commissioners receive the letter of opposition and had a chance to review that prior to the meeting? And then secondly, I want to make sure that it's on the record that you and I spoke about the multifamily not necessarily automatically going away. We as commissioners sometimes think they do, but it's really based on the 1 year or 2 year, if they're extended use more, and then whatever's named in the ordinance as far as whether it goes away. Is that not correct?
Yes.
So the multifamily in this particular case will remain, so should they decide not to do the vacation home rental, it would go back to the multi status.
Yes.
Thank you. Any other questions for
Mr.
Kelsey?
Chair.
Go ahead.
Morning, Kelsey. The property to the south is listed as open space, dark green. Is that Forest Service or is that private land?
Yes, Forest Service.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions for Kelsey or the applicant? And you said the applicant's agent was
is
here.
Yep.
Okay. Any questions for the agent? Chair would address the motion.
So move.
Second.
Moved and seconded to approve per staff's recommendation, CU 23-38 with 19 conditions. Discussion from the audience. From the commission. Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. On to item number 14.
Cody Sacker, Environmental Planner. Item 14 is preliminary plan PPL 23-26. It's to subdivide and create lots A and B of free range addition. The applicant and landowner is Free Range Rental LLC. The surveyor is Davis Engineering. Location of the property is 23707 Burnt Fork Road. Our current zoning is rural residential and the existing land use of residential. Access is off Burnt Fork Road and there's no special flood hazard area on the property. So currently on the property, there is one single family residence with 4 accessory structures, all of which were built prior to the requirement of a building permit, and they are current on their operating license. So proposed lot A will contain all of those structures, and that on-site wastewater treatment system will be approximately 4.173 acres. Lot B will be 3.695. So basically what they're doing is there's 2 lots. This dashed line right here is the current property line. So this is an existing lot here, and this is an existing lot. They're basically removing that lot line and dividing it in half, east-west. This was routed around for interdepartmental review. There were no objections or concerns that were received. The applicant is requesting to reconfigure the lot lines. On May 2nd, 2023, the Board of Commissioners approved Comprehensive Plan Amendment CA 23-03 and Rezone 23-06 to change the future land use and current zoning from agricultural district to rural residential district. Burnt Fork Road is currently an existing 20 to 24 foot wide road with a 66 foot wide right of way. It is a dead end road system, but density will remain the same, and they are under the 40 lots. Currently, the certificates on the plat are for a minor plat. Those will need to change for sections to reference sections 1702 and 1703 of the Pennington County subdivision regulations. The surveyor was made aware of that last week of those changes, so he's should be working on those. I haven't received any comment back from him on that. But staff is recommending approval of preliminary plan PPL 23-26 with conditions.
Thank you, Cody. Questions for Cody?
I have a
Go ahead,
question,
Mike.
a couple of them. Cody, I'm slow on the uptake here. So that division that goes through the lots, so actually the lot B would go all the way out to Burnt Fork? and
Yeah, so-
Lot
so-
A would go all the way out too, without that,
Correct, yeah. So currently, this is how the lots sit.
yeah.
So there's this smaller piece here and then the larger piece. What they're doing is they're removing this lot line, and then they're replacing it with this lot line. So instead
For
of-
both of them?
Yep, instead of properties east-west, they'll be north-south on that line.
And the other, and I'm very familiar with this area. The other thing is the flood. If you look at the aerial map, if you pop that thing up, just right to the left of that house is the creek. It drains that whole area through there.
Yeah, so there is no flood hazard area. FEMA hasn't mapped anything on this lot. The applicant is aware of the creek. He was actually in talking to us about where he plans on building a house up on the new lot, and we were working through him with that on the creek and the flooding and everything. And since there's no floodplain on the property, he just has to be reasonably safe from flooding. So we were working with him on that. He did have that discussion. So
Those are my two concerns.
Thank you, Michael. Just bear with me. In other words, what you're saying is this sliver of property that goes through there, and with the dotted line, that dotted line's going to go away under this?
correct. So that dotted line is him showing that was the previous lot line. So that goes away and it's replaced with this current lot line right there.
All right, and so the 3.695 and the 4.173 are taking that into account?
Correct. Yes.
Okay. Just so we've got the right amount there, that's all. Any other questions for Cody? I assume your applicant's not here, nobody else is here today.
Nope.
Good. Chair to address a motion.
I move we approve PPL 23-26.
Second.
Moved and second to approve, per staff's recommendation, PPL 23-26 with 5 conditions. Discussion from the commission. Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
All right.
Opposed? Motion carried. On to item number 15.
Item number 15 is conditional use permit CU 23-32. It's to allow managers and caretakers residents on the subject property. So this was last heard before the planning commission on November 27th. It was continued. Staff was recommending denial. The planning commission was leaning towards approval, so we asked for a continuance so we could get that fire suppression system in the residence and the structure, and to come up with conditions. However, they've hit a little snag with getting that fire suppression system in there. So speaking with the property owner, we figured it would be best to continue it until that was fully in. So staff is going to recommend to continue conditional use permit CU 23-32 to the February 12th, 2024 planning commission meeting, with the applicant's concurrence.
So moved.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, just for discussion, I happened to go by there a couple of times since we reviewed this, and the one remaining RV, I believe one of the neighbors complained about, that's gone. And some of the bric-a-brac that was related to those RVs has been moved, and it appears they are moving towards our requests of getting that in order. How are you coming with your discussions on there? Does there seem to be a real acceptance to what we were moving in the direction of?
Yeah, I think you're talking about on the applicant's side. Yeah, they're working with us to come into compliance. They want to be able to do this. And staff told them from the beginning that if they wanted to have an RV on there, they needed a conditional use permit, but I believe they've just decided not to have any RVs on there. When we get closer to the February 12th meeting, we'll go confirm it. But yeah, they were willing to do that system. They're working with Chip at the city, and I forget the gentleman's name for the company that they're working with. They're working together, and I see Chip on a regular basis, so he gives me updates. So they are moving forward. They just hit some issues with the main or water main line that has to come in isn't sized properly for what they need, so that's going to just take a little bit
Get
of
the
time.
flows that they need at this point.
Time to do, yeah. And they weren't aware that
I could believe that.
with the fire code that the whole structure was required to be fire sprinkled. So they had the kitchen and the restaurant already sprinkled. They were working on the residents downstairs, but they didn't realize that like the dining area and everything had to be sprinkled too. So that just pushes them back a little bit.
Okay.
So that's why they requested the continuance.
I did also note in my discussions with a couple of the commissioners that it seems to be a very, what would we call it, going business, would be the definition, I guess. And that's good. That's been a tough outlet out there for those neighbors to put up with, so. Any other discussion?
I just wanted to point out that the agenda names this as CU 23-35, but it should be CU 2332. Is that correct?
It should be 2332, correct?
That's the way the motion read, so 2332. So we don't have to revise it. Thank you, Karen. Any other questions for Cody? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. On to item number 16.
Item number 16 is the county board report. The Board of Commissioners concurred with the Planning Commission's recommendations from the November 27th, 2023 Planning Commission meeting.
Thank you, Brittany. Any questions for Brittany on that item? Okay, we're on to the items from the public. Public is abandoned ship. So we're on to items from the staff, the building report. Item number 18.
So the building permit report, we're on track for the number of permits this year. Last year, we did have, under the alternative energy system, we had that large building permit for the solar farm south of New Underwood, so that kind of skewed some of the numbers. But, I mean, we're about the same as what we were last year, a little less on the single-family residences, but that's it.
Any other questions on the building report for Brittany? On to item number 19, items from the membership. Any comments, criticism, discussion? Hearing none, we'll go to item number 20, adjournment. Chair to address a motion.
So moved.
Is there a second? I thought you guys wanted to stick around today. Been moved and seconded to adjourn. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.